Welcome back, guys. All right, today I'm just going to be doing a quick video on whether you guys should use Yao on big cubes or not. I'm going to be making separate arguments for each one, and I'm going to be giving my perspective on whether you should use it or not. So I'm going to be giving you guys different cases, telling you guys if this works for you, weaknesses and strengths for each one, and so if it's good for you or not. So just before we start, Yao is essentially where you build cross edges before you finish centers. So first thing you do is build two opposite centers, and then you build cross edges. And what that does is that it makes your centers a bit harder to do, but it does make your edges a lot faster. So for 4x4, it is a common agreement that Yao is better in every way, shape, or form, just because it doesn't hinder your solve at all. Like, I'd say the difference in centers might be 0.5 seconds at most, and I'd say sometimes it's even lower than that, and it makes the edges a lot faster. So I timed myself between my Yao averages and my free slice averages. It was about a 15-second difference just because of how much slower it is. So the pros of Yao first is that you have a cross already done. So once you're done your edges, you don't have to look to start your cross or anything. You can go straight into F2L, which is very easy and obviously the best thing to do. So for 4x4, I think it's a no-brainer. It's Yao, just because zero hindrance on centers gives you easy cross edges, and you have an easy 3x3 stage. So we're just gonna finish up the solve here, and then yeah. So this, I believe, Yao 100%. Anyone who does 4x4 somewhat competitively will agree. Yao is just better by 100%. Now we're gonna put these two to the side. 5x5 had some arguments a couple years back that Redux was better or free slice was better. Now I'd say Yao dominates, other than Max Park. Max Park will always be an exception for all of these cubes. He does free slice, but other than him, the top solvers use use Yao. So for 5x5, same thing. It hinders your centers a tiny bit, but it makes your last 8 edges a lot faster. It makes your 3x3 stage a lot faster. It makes transitioning a lot faster. So for 5x5, same arguments as 4x4, just a bit bigger. And I do believe Yao is a lot better for 5x5. Now, the real argument really comes in between these two cubes, 6x6 and 7x7. First, let's start off with 6x6. With the centers having a lot more pieces, I can definitely see a lot of hindrance coming into it. And this is actually going to be the argument for both 7x7 and 6x6, but it's going to go a bit more in favor for 6x6, is that whether you have fast centers or fast edges. So what I mean by that is when you're done your first two centers, and let's say you're really fast at doing centers. So in my case, I'm really good at doing centers, but my weakness is edges, especially my last 8 edges, my last 12 edges. So when I do this, what I like to do is I use Yao personally, just because it gives me a huge advantage on my last 8 edges. Whereas if I were to do Redux, I would be really bad. So when I did Redux, I average about 137 to 140. With Yao, I average anywhere near 123 to 128. So I think Yao's a lot better, but if you're really good at edges and you're really bad at centers, I think you should stick with reduction or with free slice, just because you don't need Yao. The point of Yao is to make your edges a lot easier, a lot more efficient, things like that. So if you have really good edges, you don't really pause much, things like that, I won't recommend Yao for you. Same goes with 7x7. If you're really good at edges for 7x7, just don't use it. But for 6x6, I use Yao just because I'm really bad at edges and I need that extra help. So I think, yeah, I think this could go 50-50. Just depends on personal preference, but I do think a lot more people have issues solving edges than centers, just because centers are a lot easier to see than edges. So we're just going to put that to the side, move that. Now 7x7. This is a controversial take. I do think Yao is better for 7x7, although the two fastest solves ever in competition were using free slice. But I do think for the average person, Yao is better. But again, same argument. This has a lot of pieces, especially for your centers. So the hindrance that it has is huge. My centers, again, are really good, especially compared to my edges. I think my centers are my best quality while solving big cubes, but my edges are by far the worst. So I use Yao, and I'm going to be uploading a couple of videos as well on my walkthrough solves, how I solve it, just to show you guys a bit of a perspective on my side. So for 7x7, if you have good edges, you don't have a problem, you don't struggle with edges at all, but you struggle with centers, you don't want to add that extra hindrance on your centers just to have a cross done already, because cross might take an extra second or two, but the hindrance they're going to put on centers is going to be maybe 15-20 seconds minimum, depending on how bad or how good you are at centers. So essentially, I believe 4x4 and 5x5 are no-brainers for Yao. 6x6, I think it's a 50-50 toss-up. It really depends on your preference. Same with 7x7, there is a big toss-up in it, but I do believe the majority of the people will have more success with free slice, especially to begin with, just to get your centers better. Once your centers are good, I definitely think people should make the switch to Yao, just because every second will count, and with Yao, the faster you get, the hindrance becomes less and less. It just takes a while to get used to the L moves, you know, getting used to everything. But that is all from me. So again, Yao for 4x4, 5x5. I use Yao on all four, just a heads up. But this could go 50-50. This is really a toss-up in the air for anyone, but I go with Yao. I wouldn't recommend a lot of people to go with Yao, especially if you're new to 7x7. Stick to the basics. Once you get really good, definitely switch. But that is really all from me today. Hopefully you guys had fun watching. Give me your opinion down in the comments. I might have missed some things, but that is all from me tonight. And have a nice day, guys. Peace.